You're watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 1st meeting of the Michigan City Human Rights Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay?
Yes.
All right, now we'll have roll call, please.
Okay. Albertine Allen. Sojourner Atwater. Dennis Carroll.
Here.
Marty Corley. Greg Coulter.
Here.
Bunny Dimke. Here. Diana Gore.
Here?
Jamie Lorenz. Mercedes McMullen.
Here.
Jessica O'Brien.
Here.
Mary Ellen Quinn.
Here.
Tyra Robinson Walker.
Here.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right,
We have a quorum.
have them all? All right. So the next thing we're going to do is have approvals for the past meeting minutes. All right, for the May 8th meeting,
I move that we accept the minutes for the May 8th meeting.
I'll second. All right, June 6th.
Okay. We'll do them all at once, or we have a motion and a second. We want to vote?
I'm rushing too much, he's got me back to where I first started. Sorry about that. All right. The May 8th, all right, so it's been motioned that it be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now, how's that?
Any opposed? Okay, great.
Thank you, all right. The June 6th motion,
Larry, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Does it affect a quorum if I abstain from voting for the minutes? Okay, gotcha, okay.
all right?
You want to abstain from the May?
No, I was at the May meeting, but for June and July, I wasn't there, so I would like to abstain from minutes.
Okay, fine, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay,
Continue.
all right, so we're okay with that. And the June 6th, we've got the motion called for that one.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, are we okay with that one?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we need a vote.
Yes. That's what I thought we were on that.
Aye. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstain.
All right. Taking it down, I like that. The next is July 5th.
I'll go ahead and accept the motions of July 5th minutes.
And Tyra. Second it. Any? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any abstaining to it?
I'll abstain.
One. All
Any
right.
opposed? Okay. Good.
All in order then. So that's been cleared. Financial report.
Yes. Just had it here and I lost it. There has been, should I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Diana's thought that the financial report would not reflect the scholarships unless it was first announced in the minutes who the recipients were. Is that correct? Because it affects the balance of what the financial
I have their
report shows.
W-9s filled out, but I cannot submit them for payment unless I attach the minutes where their names are announced at the meeting.
Okay, so then this month's balance would be the same as last month's.
Correct, it would be that August 1st line, correct.
I don't know what I did, I just had it, sorry.
But you're right, it's the same as last month.
Here. Oh, yes, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, so the ending balance for July is $7,419.95. There's been no change.
So Bonnie, that's okay?
Motions and a
All
second.
right, yes, just wanted to make sure. All right, we have a motion for that?
I'll go ahead and accept the motion of the,
All
budget as
approved?
presented.
I'll second it.
Any abstaining to that? No? All right, so that one's called over. You want to
We can
go?
vote on it. We can vote.
I thought we did. Have a vote on it then. So we have to vote? All right,
Any opposed?
that's where I thought we were.
Got it.
All right, so it's been carried. Diane, do we have anything else after the financial report?
Nope.
Okay. So our committee members, committee meeting, they're not here,
Yeah, Jessica's here.
so we're gonna have to hold off on that.
No, Jessica's gonna do
Oh,
it.
all right. so
Yeah.
now-
Thanks, Jessica.
Sure, the Educational Scholarship Committee met on June 13th to decide the recipients of both scholarships, each $1,000. The Hawkins Williams Scholarship was presented to Adrian Huizar, and the Judy Huber Scholarship was presented to Tristan Bogart. They're both graduates of Michigan City High School this year. Adrian is going to attend Valparaiso University for a bachelor's degree in health science, and Tristan will attend Ivy Tech for an associate's degree in supply chain management.
That's beautiful, good job.
All right, good.
It's good talking to the Supreme Court, too.
Well, are we
We don't
gonna have to
do
vote
that.
on that?
We don't have to do that.
Okay.
Where are we?
So are there any questions?
No, she just announced those. No, I think we truly have time to do that. We can't. It's we can't.
If I may,
Yes.
we kind of skipped the executive director's report and staff attorney's report because to try to get people out of here so they could go to the night out, police party. But I did want to briefly comment on the United States Supreme Court decisions of a couple months ago that we didn't really get to talk about because we didn't have a quorum here the last couple months. There've been several of them ruling against Biden's rollback of the student loan program and the, oh God, it's slipping my mind now. The one that I wanted to talk about was the public accommodation rulings. I think that's the only one that affects us. That was the case out of Colorado, Creative LLC versus Elenis. That was a website designer who refused to
Right.
create a website for gay individuals who were getting married. And the Supreme Court said that that was okay because it was her First Amendment free speech rights to not be forced to, so to say, speak on something that she didn't believe in. It was 6-3 decision, which a lot of those decisions were 6-3. And this one could affect us because we do have a public accommodation law in our ordinance that prohibits discrimination. The only thing that I'm hoping, and there's going to be some more court cases down the line, but the only thing I'm hoping is that that case seemed to be limited to someone who has a creative or artistic component to it. So the website design, theoretically, maybe there was a Colorado case that somebody was baking a cake for a wedding. Maybe they could consider that that would be creative and artistic. I don't know. But certainly something that involves writing or screenplays or something to that effect would certainly fall within this. here in Michigan City, I don't recall anything like that ever coming in front of our commission, but we have had complaints from people like at a gas station or at a grocery store who claim that they were denied services because of their race. That apparently would not change, because I don't think you could argue that a gas station or a grocery store or a department store could be considered creative, but who knows? I mean, we're going to need further enlightenment from the court or further cases from the court. So as it stands now, I think that's the only one that affects us. And we just have to keep in mind that if we do get a case that comes up like that here, that even though the ordinance says that it's not allowed, the Supreme Court says otherwise. So, that's the only one that I really want to talk about. There was the voting decision from Alabama that said state political parties can't do whatever they want as far as voting goes, so that was good. That was on the positive side. And there was one more, but I'm skipping my mind now.
Colleges too.
Oh yeah, the old affirmative action, yeah, that was a big one. That was a big one.
Started
See,
again.
because that's what I was
Yeah, but
last week.
Yeah, we don't have really anything to do with, I mean, that's not saying we couldn't try to do something and voice our opinion in some way, but our ordinance does not cover that in any way. And that was the case from Harvard that said that it didn't absolutely say that the colleges could not look at race, but it said there had to be a valid reason for them to look at race. And they had to enunciate that valid reason before they could include race. And I think there probably aren't going to be very many colleges that now look at race for affirmative action. Yeah, can't believe, thanks, Diane. Can't believe that's the one I forgot. That was the other biggie. So, does anybody have any questions? I know I went through that really fast, but public accommodation is the only one that we'll have to keep in mind. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the Supreme Court. We'll see if they come out with some more cases. More clarification on exactly what is artistic or creative content. Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
That's it? All right.
I have a question for Larry. And I don't, it's not directly related to the Supreme Court cases. Do you want me to hold it?
Go ahead.
I was reading on, I scroll through occasionally Nextdoor app on Facebook. I don't know if you know what it is. It's a community of, where people, whatever, complain sometimes. And they mentioned that in order to alleviate the homeless issue of men standing on the corners, especially downtown, it being a little intimidating, I agree, et cetera, the mayor ordered the benches removed so that those people wouldn't kind of like hang out there. And somebody commented, the comment was something to the effect of, this seems to me this would be an issue that maybe the Human Rights Commission could take up. Is that anything we would just, that's not our...
It's a community collaborative perspective from me. It is not just human rights. It is just not the mayor. It is community members as a whole. And if you look at Valpo, if you look at Lake County, you look at South Bend, all community members come together to assure that there is a safe place for this population and the type of treatment and case management stuff they come in. Community mental health come inside the facility and provide the services that they need. And right now, Michigan City is the only place in the whole LaPorte County that does this. And Mike Kilborn, who does an awesome job, that works for Swanson Center, is the Swanson Center case manager who tries to the best of his ability to track and connect them to resources that's much needed. But on the other hand, if we have other cities within LaPorte County and townships who thinks it's okay for them not to be involved, pay somebody money, put them in the car or the van and transport them to Michigan City and drop them off is unreal.
Does
So,
that happen?
absolutely.
This is a destination, this is a destination. And you know what, let me just
Sorry,
throw this in real
I'm sorry,
quickly. We've dealt with this, and Jessica can attest to this, with the Salvation Army. We help people with the train fare and this, and a lot of times, they don't wanna be in the shelter. They wanna be at the beach, they wanna be under the viaduct. We've been doing this, I know I've cooked for the homeless shelter for over 20 years. And I know that, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
It definitely goes beyond just offering them the shelter. I mean,
Yeah, it does.
this could be an hours-long
Right.
conversation.
But I do think the fact that somebody mentioned that publicly, is this something the Human Rights Commission should take up? And that's, you know, that caught my attention, so that's why I'm asking.
There are conversations that are happening in the community about how to handle home. I mean, there are so many resources available here, but there are conversations that are happening, and I think it'd be great if the Human Rights Commission had a voice at that table, personally.
Yeah, and it should be many voices at that
I
table.
agree.
And it should be countywide, not Michigan City.
I agree.
It's a big issue nationwide,
big issue.
it's not just Michigan City, it's an issue everywhere. And I don't think there's any firm decisions yet from the Supreme Court as to what cities or counties or states can do. I think my personal opinion, removing the benches, you're not saying, no, we can't have any homeless here, you're just saying, no, you can't have homeless sitting down.
You can't be
Or
sitting down,
anybody,
yeah, a foot
nobody.
up. You have to be
Yeah,
sitting
so
across the
I
sidewalk,
don't
yeah.
know if that, I don't see how that could be, I don't see how we could fit that into our ordinance. Now, if it said, you know, we're not gonna have homeless people in Michigan City, then that's another issue. That's a completely different issue, but if we're not making it comfortable for homeless or anyone else in Michigan City because there's no benches, I think that would be,
The anyone else part is something to jump on too, though, because I mean, if you're walking down Franklin Street and it's 95 degrees out, and you need to sit for a second, and the option is to sit on a boiling hot sidewalk,
Yeah.
as opposed to a nice bench because you're up there in age and you need to sit for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that
Health
option
issues,
anymore. Yeah,
all, yeah.
all of it. Yeah.
there was, I saw something on the news in Las Vegas, you know, people were passing out and they would fall on the ground and then they would get burnt because the ground was so hot. Now, luckily, we don't have that problem here, but I mean, theoretically, it could be a health issue. But I don't particularly see it fitting into our ordinance, but
That's what I was asking about.
Yeah. Just because of the way it's,
What our mission is, you mean?
no,
human
just
rights?
because of the way, again, if it was outlawing a particular class of individual, or saying we don't want this particular class of individual here, that's a different story.
I mean, I think in some aspect it happens, but if we listen to what Jessica said, that if we're at the table, we can have a piece of that puzzle to be able to move it forward, to assure that this population does have the resources built in. If I will give an example, recently I dealt with one of our homeless mental health people. This is the population that's most effective with homelessness. Because when they are off their meds, because they don't have the consistent shelter services and mental health services, what happens is they come off their meds and they say and do things, which bans them from places. So when they're banned from places, then they're constantly coming back to the jail for criminal trespass. And then they get stabilized on their meds because it's a familiar environment, consistent, and then they're back out there. Doing what? How? So that's where that population does come into effect because they're being banned because of mental health stuff where they're not clear and competent to understand what they're doing because they don't have the medication to stay stable.
It's certainly something that we could have a voice in, and it's certainly something that is a major problem. I mean, everywhere, not just here.
But we have not looked at, like Jessica said, maybe now we might, but we haven't looked at how other counties have been successful, and they are successful in this endeavor of everyone coming together within a county concept to assure that those resources are met at some minimum.
before we close,
This may be under, excuse me, Madam Chair, under social status of African American males. We had a guest speaker, Rima Binder, Friendship of Botanica Gardens. She gave a history and update on the project, the African Garden in Friendship of Botanica Garden. And it was a intensive history of the garden itself. And it was very, very interesting. So I thought I'd bring that up and just let you know that there's so many people that I have talked to that have lived in Michigan City for a long time and have never even, didn't know nothing about that place. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So please go if you have time. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Pastor Karen.
Yes.
any other responses to this? Well, before we close, I'd like to meet and introduce the young lady here. If you would, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline Dyer, and I live here, I live on the west side, and I'm trying to become more involved in Michigan City. So right now I'm just going to different meetings, city meetings, to see what I like, what I'm interested in, how can I be more involved in Michigan City, and where would I be needed? And so that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Jen. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Any further comments, any further questions? If not, I'd like to take a vote on adjourning the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Clara?
Yep. So we're
All
adjourned.
right,
Anybody want
all
to
in
say?
favor? All right.
We're all in favor. Thank you.
I know what it is to take. All right.